The Kentucky Teachers Retirement System has not gotten as much attention as the Kentucky Employees Retirement System, because the Kentucky Employees Retirement System at 23% is the single worst state-funded plan in the entire country. And even that, they've been trying to downplay that, the legislature and a lot of the people in Frankfort for a long time. But again, teachers retirement, which is now at 50, dropping in the 40s, is probably the third or fourth worst funded state teacher plan in the United States, and well in the bottom 10% of all public pension plans nationally as far as its assets that are needed to support its liabilities. The actual proof of this, the proof that there is a systematic underfunding, I think starting, according to the table in my book, I think around 7 or 8 years ago, was that there is, every year, the teachers retirement system has an actuary. And the actuary comes up with what is the actuarially required contribution to make this a healthy run pension plan. They look at all the different factors, the investments, they look at the lives, who's in there, and come up with a number. For most pension plans, for a corporate pension plan, it is against the law not to pay what the actuary says. For cities and counties and school districts in the KTRS system, it is against the law for them to pay under 100% of the actuarially required contribution. However, the legislature, being a body of, I guess, exempted themselves from that law for KTRS and kind of a national norm by underfunding both the state employee system, approximately about 50% of the ARC for the last 10 years, and the teachers retirement system at about 75% of the actuarially required contribution for the last 7 or 8 years. And this is the main cause of the stress and the damages done to the Kentucky Teachers Retirement System. And it's fairly easy to measure, because every year the Kentucky Teachers Retirement System's actuary came up with the actuarially required contribution, and they put that in a report that we all have available already. And they have, when they send it to the legislature has refused to fully fund the ARC for at least the past 7 to 8 years. There's 1 year where they did a pension obligation bond. There may be a few wrinkles in this, but for the most part, they have not done their fiduciary duty of fully funding the ARC in the teachers' retirement system. And the documentation is just pretty clear out there. And in this session this year, they have purposely underfunded for this budget session the teachers' retirement system by $800 million.